also can't invest. Good morning, everyone. Another beautiful sunrise mission here at the beaches. Hey, if you're new to the channel, my name's Teppo, and I hope that by the end of this episode, either I've put a smile on your face and I've won, or you've learned something along the way. And last week, we started a new series about finances. And if you missed that video, I'll make sure to card it up there so you can check that video out first. But today, we're gonna continue that series, and we're gonna be talking about a topic that's not sexy at all, but really important if you wanna go forwards in your finance journey, and that's saving. All right, let's sit down and talk a little bit. Just gonna adjust the, there we go. All right, so when I started this finance journey, the first book that I read was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I feel like this is one of those financial literature book classics that everyone who wants to start learning more about finances, the first book that they read is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. One of the biggest takeaways from this book was realizing that most people work for money, but rich people make money work for them. The author Robert Kiyosaki made me realize that a $50 bill isn't just worth $50, but it's also the potential of that $50 and the money that it can make you. For example, if you were to take $50 and you're to put it into a basic index fund and just leave it there for a total of 30 years, let me take out the math. Say on average, if that index fund made about 10%, that might be a little bit generous, or it could be quite true. But say if you put $50 for 30 years at 10%, in 30 years, that $50 would now be $872.47. So basically, for doing nothing, just letting your $50 bill sit in an index fund for 30 years, just waiting, you would make a total of $822.47. That's over 16 times the amount of the original value of that $50 bill. Now that's what I call making your money work for you. There's way too many of those bugs here, so maybe we just cruise and talk on the one wheel at the same time. Get a little bit more comfortable on the one wheels. I remember the first time riding a one wheel, absolutely hated it. I was so shaky, so uncomfortable, and I thought, nah, just not for me. Glad I pushed through and learned how to ride a one wheel, because now it's probably one of my most enjoyable hobbies that I do. Let's find some bench somewhere. Aha, mosquito chairs, this will be perfect. Look at this, his and hers, perfect. I'm gonna break the boundaries, go for the pink one. Now, the truth is, most people will never get to that stage of investing because at the end of the month, they have nothing to spend and invest. And I want to just research a little bit, what is the situation in, for example, North America? And I don't mean to be picking on our friends down south, but in an article I read, it said that up to 78% live paycheck to paycheck in America. That's a lot of people who, at the end of the month, have nothing left over to spend. And the craziest thing is that it wasn't just people who are on the lower spectrum of incomes or salaries. It was even up to people making $100,000 a year. Even they were living paycheck to paycheck. Okay, so at this point, you're probably wondering, okay, if most people live paycheck to paycheck, maybe you live paycheck to paycheck, you're asking, how can I start saving? Now, to answer this question, I want to quote psychologist Nathaniel Branden. He said something really wise by saying, the first step to change is awareness, and the second step is acceptance. Let me say that again. The first step to change is awareness, and the second step is acceptance. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been noticing lately in my life that pretty much in any area of life, whether that's trying to lose weight, sleeping better, spending less money, all these areas, if you want to do less or be more in control of your usage, you got to be aware of what you're using. Most people never take the time to stop and actually write down, how do they spend their money this month, or how do they eat today? And I've been noticing, for example, lately I've been using a calorie app called Fitness Pal, and just writing down every single day what I've eaten and how many calories I've eaten, being aware of my situation has helped me to change. And I think the same is for finances. I think for most people, they get a paycheck at the beginning of the month or twice a month, and they just start spending, but they never actually stop and think or look and observe how did they spend their money this month. And that's something I've been doing recently. At the end of each month, I actually just make a really simple and raw Excel spreadsheet and write down all the income that's come in from working for my brother Matty and as well through my freelance endeavors. I add that all up, and then I go through all my bank statements, all my credit card statements, and I make an Excel spreadsheet of everything that I've spent that month. I don't even have a budget yet. I really just am spending time trying to be aware of how I'm spending. And I find it so interesting. All of a sudden, you can start to see how much money you spend on groceries, on gas, on car insurance, on rent, on shopping, on random crap that you end up buying each month that you don't even realize, on subscriptions, eating out, Tim Hortons. It's a coffee shop here in Toronto, and I swear we go like 5 times a week getting an iced cappuccino or whatever. But writing down everything that you spend, all of a sudden you're aware. And that awareness allows you to make changes. I noticed myself just by seeing what I've been using my money on, all of a sudden I could sit down with my wife Vera and be like, hey, this is how we spent our money last month. Do we want to make some changes? You know, I noticed that I had 2 book subscriptions. We had Netflix, we had Spotify, we had all these subscriptions each month, and I asked my wife, do we need all of them? Maybe we could cancel one of them, and from that we could save more. Or I noticed that we were spending a lot of money on eating out, and all of a sudden I was like, hey, maybe we could eat out a little bit less and cook more, because obviously when you cook at home, often it's healthier and it's a lot less expensive. You often have tons of leftovers when you make a great meal, and you save money in the end. So when you write down how you've been spending your money that month, all of a sudden you become aware of your expenditure, and naturally changes start to happen. And all of a sudden, like us, where we decided to lower our eating out or cancel one of our subscriptions, we noticed that at the end of the month, we actually had money left over. And with that money that's left over, you can invest. But I want to give still one tip that I've noticed that really makes sure that you will guaranteed 100% have money to invest every single month. Let me just go get a nice little cozy spot by the lake over there, and we'll chat over this last thing. Oh, bugs are attacking me again. Oh. That is seriously the hardest part of one-wheeling, just dismounting like that. But get in the hang of it. Since we're at the beaches, might as well go enjoy the lake view. Today it's super calm. A lot of times there's quite a lot of waves here, but today, most peaceful morning. So glad I came out this morning. Every time you do a sunrise, there's always that moment when you wake up in the morning at like 6 and you're like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't have the energy for this. Then we just jump in the shower, get out of the house. You're so glad you did. Let's just plop down there at the end of the lake and enjoy this. Yeah, the water's very clear. The lake views over here. Lake over here. Our friends to the south over there in America. Somewhere out there. Now, the last and final tip that I want to give you guys is something that the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad said. And he introduced this idea of paying yourself first. Now, most people, when they get paid, you know, you pay your rent, you pay your car insurance, your phone bills, groceries, all those expenses, and then maybe buy yourself something nice. But you actually never really paid yourself first. You got paid, but then you paid all the bills and your money went to everything else but yourself. And what he means by that is pay yourself first and use that money to make money for yourself. So instead of writing down how you spend and deciding where to maybe cut down a little bit to save money and then investing at the end of the month, write down each month how you're spending your money, and when you cut down something, you know that, okay, if I, for example, cut down Netflix out of my month, that's 10, 20 bucks extra each month. So pay yourself at the beginning of the month $20 and put that $20 away into investments, for example. That way, you pay yourself first, you invest that money, you start making your money work for you, and then you live with the rest of the money that you have left over. So that's something my wife and I have been doing. At the beginning of each month, when we get our salary from our companies, we invest first the amount of money, and then we live with the rest that's left over. And it's interesting that when you pay yourself first and you invest, somehow the money always is enough for the month. But when you do it the other way, where you get paid by your boss or your company, you pay all the bills, somehow, mysteriously, there's never any money left over at the end of the month. But when you do it the other way, there's always money left over at the month. So it's an interesting little thing happens, but I guess that's just prioritizing what's most important to you. Do you want to pay yourself first, make your money make money for you, and get ahead in the financial journey? Or do you want to pay yourself last, and most likely you have nothing left over for yourself to invest and help yourself go forwards? Alright guys, hopefully what we've been talking about in today's video is actually very helpful and eye-opening to you. I know for me it's been really helpful, and I'll actually include in the description the Excel spreadsheet that I've been using. It's really raw and not high quality, but if, for example, for you, you're overwhelmed by Excel spreadsheets or you just don't know how to start, I'll put that in the description. You can just download the Excel spreadsheet for yourself, and you can just start filling out the form and seeing how much money you spent each month. Also, I'd love for this community to help each other out. So if you are a master of spending, if you are really good at being disciplined and investing, I would love to hear what kind of tricks you guys have up your sleeve just to help you be more disciplined and more wise with your finances. All right, guys, hopefully this was encouraging. Hopefully I did put a smile on your face. I'm having a fantastic day out here. I'm gonna go and enjoy this weather, and then I'm gonna head off to work because it's early in the morning. I feel like this whole season of making YouTube videos is always in the morning because I guess this is like my time to create and share with you guys. All right, have a fantastic day, guys. Super excited to see how these help you guys out. I'm out of here. Guys, I have to confess something. I am really craving an iced cappuccino from Tim Hortons. And I don't even like coffee. I think I'm not a coffee addict, but I think I've become a caffeine addict. Definitely not a good thing, but I'm really craving an iced cappuccino. But at the same time, I feel like maybe I shouldn't buy it and I should just save those $3 so I have some money to invest. You know, do what I've been teaching you guys in this video. I will try my best to resist.